This episode is sponsored by Warner Brothers. Hello and welcome back to Film Pro Productivity and Success, the podcast for creative people who want to build a more focused, effective and happy life. My name is Carter Ferguson and this is episode 166, Connect to Success. Let's talk about networking. Opportunities don't happen, you create them. Chris Grosser, unquote. So as many of you will know, I work full-time as a fight director in the film, theatre and television industry here in Scotland. And over the past few months, since the start of the year, in fact, since January the 13th, I've been very much in demand and the jobs just been coming thick and fast. Something I certainly can't complain about because there's so many people out there who are out of work, and I'm very much aware of that. But it is absolutely fantastic to finally be back with you after a bit of a delay. For season 14, this is the first episode of, you'll be getting 12 new episodes over the next 12 weeks, starting with this one, and I'll share more about what's coming up a little bit later on. And just to jump in again and say the reason for all these delays, the 6 months worth of delays, is I've just been run off my feet. I've been doing job after job after job, and any downtime I've had has been soaked up with kind of just day-to-day running matters of the household and of the business, and it's pushed me almost to the point of burnout, and I am kind of dodging work at the moment. I've made a decision that if work comes to me, I will do it, but I'm certainly not going out there and chasing it up, because I really got to the point where I couldn't do much more. And don't get me wrong, I did some great projects along the way, and I worked with some lovely people. I've been on River City, which is always good fun, and they've only got another year to go. You might have heard there's been an announcement that is getting shut down at kind of April-ish next year. It's been really good to me, that show, and it's a shame to see that it's they've decided to drop it and not continue with it. I've been on Mrs. Brown's Boys. I've done a feature called, which Mrs. Brown's Boys is fantastic, by the way. It's just great fun, great people. Everyone's lovely. I did a feature called Fight Me in January. I directed some stuff from a friend, Dom Waters, who had written a film called Yesterday's Men. We shot some kind of concept stuff for that, with a lot of lovely people working on that one as well. Long story short, I've been doing an awful lot of work, and coming back to this show, some people have told me just don't do it, just drop it. And I just felt it is far too important. I get a lot of interaction still from the episodes that have gone out. How many episodes have we got already? This is 166, so 165 episodes are out already. In fact, there's a little bit more than that because I've released a few in-between episodes. And I just think it's an important thing to do. So anyway, here I am, finally. And I better crack on with it, or you're going to get utterly bored. So where are we today? Have you ever felt like it's all just too overwhelming to break into or even stay relevant in your own industry? Like the opportunities are out there, but you're not sure how to find them, or if you've been around for a while like I have, how to re-establish your connections, or are the people that used to be your connections, have they moved on? Have they gone and moved out of the industry? Have they had a family and dropped out of the industry? Are you having to rebuild new connections? This is all part of what we're talking about today, and you are not alone. The answer for you might lay in today's topic: networking. This is something that many of us struggle with, whether it's feeling uncomfortable putting ourselves out there or just simply not knowing where to start. And today we're going to be breaking down how networking can boost your productivity, solidify your professional relationships that already exist, and unlock doors that you never knew existed. From attending industry events to engaging in online creative communities, you'll discover practical strategies to get noticed and stay noticed in the ever-evolving world of the creative industries and beyond. And if you're anything like me and work as a creative freelancer, then you will have often felt isolated or unsure about how to approach things like networking, and all of this comes from this unique business position that we find ourselves in. Because as freelancers, we're flying solo most of the time. There's no team around about us to bounce ideas off of or to chat with over a coffee. And this topic possibly deserves an episode all of its own. This freelancer isolation. And it's certainly a key reason why getting better at networking will benefit you as well. I'll maybe come back to that in a future show. And we also usually don't have a regular steady team to build long-term connections with, and clients or employers, they come and go as well. And while some relationships will last, many of them are gone a day after they started. And I find probably that maybe about 10 to 15% of my regular employers build relationships with me beyond the job, beyond the day-to-day of the job. And on the other hand, I always try to build relationships with those people that I work with, not because I'm desperately wanting to be liked and employed again, but because freelancing really is that lonely business that I talked about a second ago. Many freelancers work from home or personal studios, limiting their opportunities for daily in-person interactions, but working from home or in a personal workspace definitely can be isolating. And the fact that there's not much opportunity for face-to-face interaction in our day-to-day makes networking that bit more important. Most of us who are freelancers also don't stick to 9 to 5, and whether it's late nights, early mornings, or just that last-minute rush to get stuff done, our schedules can be all over the place. It really wouldn't be unusual for me, for example, to work till 3 a.m. or have to work additional work hours to just get stuff done. And a job I did recently hit me with 7 hours of additional prep for the American insurers that were on it on a Saturday, like a day and a bit before the job started on the Monday. And I just had to kill all of my plans to get that done. So, it's a problem. It's something unique to what we do. Another thing worth mentioning is that freelancers are often have to compete for projects, which can lead to a sense of disconnection from other people in the same field. And after 30 years of this shit, I recognise that competing for gigs is now just part of the deal. And while it pushes us to do our best, it can also leave us feeling, again, kind of disconnected and at odds with others that are in the same industry as we are, or the same niche within the industry as we are. And these factors all contribute to these feelings of isolation, but you can alleviate them by actively engaging in networking events, in online communities, or on collaborative projects. Networking is not just about connecting people, it's about connecting people with ideas, opportunities, and solutions. Michele Jennae, unquote. I might have mispronounced that. Networking is not just about connecting people, it's about connecting people with ideas, opportunities, and solutions, is the quote. And networking is definitely not something I've enjoyed over the years, but it's a vital skill if we are going to try and get ahead, or we're going to try and stabilise our income. I've noticed more and more recently, in fact, that the traditional methods, you might call them, of trying to get our names out there just don't appear to work anymore unless you have a new angle on it. So things like networking, getting face-to-face, ideally with a potential employer, are even more important than they once were. I'm going on about networking here as it's ultimately another productivity skill, and the creative industry often runs on word-of-mouth recommendations. That's pretty much how I've run my business in the last certainly 10, 15 years. It saves time and effort, and building a strong network can help you bypass the frustration of cold pitching or endlessly searching for opportunities. Surrounding yourself with like-minded creatives or mentors also keeps you motivated to stay on track, and it's worth mentioning too, I suppose, that many gigs or collaborations just aren't advertised. They do come through these relationships. They say that firstly, you should start small when you're thinking about networking opportunities. You should join online communities for creative people if that's your thing. Look to Facebook groups, Twitter threads, or LinkedIn posts and comment thoughtfully, ideally, on someone else's work, or share something that, I don't like the word resonates. I've written resonates down here. It sounds like I'm trying to sell something. Share something that means something to you, with them. And don't be afraid to send a message to someone that you admire, but make it genuine, compliment their work, ask a specific question, or share why you appreciate them. I did that 2 days ago, in fact. I wrote my notes for this a long time ago, but I sent a LinkedIn request to the person that's in charge of Big Finish Audio, because I'd listened to some Doctor Who audio. It's fantastic, really excellent, the Tom Baker ones. I've just listened to another one called The Antimatter Brilliant. Check it out. Auntie is spelled Auntie, and it's kind of roaring 20s style. And it's got Mary Tam in it as well, as Romana. Really, really good one there. Anyway, I'm getting distracted, but yeah, join these online creative communities and try to make them work for you. Networking is about building relationships, not just about getting something in return. It's about trust, mutual respect, and being part of a larger community. Ivan Misner, unquote. And networking thrives on reciprocity. I've touched upon this before, but the theory of reciprocity states that people are more likely to respond positively and return favours to those who have treated them kindly or offered assistance. It's a key part of the productivity world. So when you give first, people remember you and they're more likely to return the favour. So share your resources, recommend someone else for a job, or highlight someone's work on social media. I see many people fail on social media because they focus absolutely solely on their own self-promotion. They don't engage with their followers. They disregard the comments or messages that are left in response to their posts, and this does not work well for them. This approach stops them from building a genuine and interactive online presence, as it discourages two-way communication and reduces the potential for building stronger connections. There is a very specific filmmaker in Scotland, I won't name who it is. It's a guy, and all they do on all the groups is say, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. And I used to follow them. I was quite interested in him. I'd met him in Cannes. Thought he was an interesting guy. I've unfollowed him on everything. I don't share or anything he puts out at all anymore, because he absolutely ignores anybody that interacts with him. And I was just trying to be nice interacting with him. You know, I wasn't trying to get a job or anything like that. In fact, I definitely wasn't trying to get a job because I don't really want to work with him. But I've got this thing that I don't need to like another creative's work in order to support them. It's what's in my head. Anyway, yeah. If you're going to be on social media, interact with people. Don't let messages sent to you just kind of die. And if you're going down this route, then set realistic goals for yourself to give you focus rather than approaching networking as a scattergun approach. So be specific. For example, say, this month I'm going to reach out to 2 new connections. I'm going to attend 1 event, and I'm going to reconnect with someone that I've lost touch with. And you can further break down your networking goals into manageable steps so it doesn't feel overwhelming. You know, so I've done an episode about it before. How do you eat an elephant 1 bit at a time? So if you're not sure how you're going to reconnect with someone, make a little plan and follow that plan. That's just basic productivity. And you can also use tools like Contact Tracker or a notebook to keep track of who you've reached out to and when, and schedule like monthly time each month or weekly even, to maintain and grow your network. You know, put effort into it. Networking is about starting one meaningful conversation at a time. Joanne Black, unquote. So let's imagine a freelance filmmaker attending a film festival. Instead of rushing from person to person trying to introduce themselves to every attendee, they notice a fellow filmmaker whose work they've admired for a while. They're aware of it, they like it, and you know, it's meant something to them in the past. So they approach this person and engage in an earnest conversation about their own shared experiences in the industry, discussing the unique challenges that they've faced in various projects, the techniques that they've developed, and the aspirations they have for future films. And through this one interaction, the filmmaker not only gains valuable insights, but forms a connection that could possibly potentially anyway lead to collaborations in future, referrals, or even just a supportive friendship, someone to call when they're having trouble. Networking isn't about collecting contacts. It's about creating and building upon genuine connections through, again, I don't really like these words, I tend to use them sometimes in the podcast, but authentic, genuine conversations. So if you were that filmmaker, what would you do to help you lock in that new contact? Here's a few examples of what I might do to ensure this new contact that I've made stays strong. Exchange contact information in the first instance. Ensure that you can stay in touch by swapping your business cards, your social media handles, or your email addresses. I've got business cards. Don't you hand them out that often, but I think if I was going to go to an event, I might put my socials on it as well. That said, I have not been using the socials particularly well this year. I've abandoned X somewhat. I'm getting distracted here by this, but yeah, I would probably put on my Instagram handle and try and connect with them there as well. But exchanging contact information would be one thing that I'd do to try and solidify that contact. Another thing I would do is follow-up communication after the event. Reach out with a friendly message, referencing something specific from the conversation so they remember who that I am, to show that we were genuinely engaged and we got on well together. Sometimes people will meet 100 people and they'll forget who you are. So there's absolutely no harm in following up after the event and reminding people who you are. You might want to, if you think there's something you could work together on, schedule up a follow-up meeting and maybe propose a virtual coffee meeting or a visit to the other person's studio space or whatever to discuss potential collaborations or share more ideas, or just to continue a conversation that you were having at the film festival. One productive thing to do is have a walking meeting. So like just go and walk the dogs together, or just go and have a walk around the park together, and that's if you're living locally close to each other. That's worth considering as well. You might also want to collaborate on a project. If the chemistry feels right and there's mutual interest, then you can explore opportunities to work together on a future film project perhaps, or maybe just offer support and feedback on each other's individual projects. That happens quite a lot. There's a few filmmakers that are good filmmakers that are Scotland and down south as well that I interact with, and I think we trust each other's opinions and support each other. And it's always good to build on relationships like that. And another thing you might want to do is attend future events together. So keep an eye out for another upcoming film festival or a workshop, panel discussions perhaps when a film's played, and then you can continue to build your professional relationship with that person and maybe even support each other's career. So there's like 5 things you can do as a follow-up to meeting someone at a networking event. Might be worth considering. I'll just reiterate them again. Exchange contact information, use follow-up communication, schedule a follow-up meeting, collaborate on a project, or attend future events together. Networking is like a garden. It takes time to cultivate, but when nurtured properly, it can produce bountiful results. Victoria Hennessy, unquote. And yes, you have to nurture networking over time. So plant the seeds, water them regularly, and let them grow into something more interesting. And I'd add too that you really want to avoid waiting until you're desperate for work to start building those connections, because people can smell that desperation. Building strong business relationships requires more than just networking. It demands active listening, empathy, and mutual respect. When you invest in these qualities, the returns on your investment will be strong, enduring connections. Susan C. Young, unquote. Imagine yourself this time as someone who actively participates in these creative gatherings. They engage with fellow professionals on social media and collaborate with diverse talents on multiple projects. You allocate your time and effort to grow genuine relationships within your creative influence, that is, focusing not only on potential work opportunities, but also on exchanging your expertise, pooling resources, and championing collective growth. And as you develop your network, you can expect to receive referrals or recommendations for new projects or job opportunities. And this does happen, by the way, eventually. This happened. I think I've spoken about my work with David Goodall in the past. David Goodall was in competition with me for a long time. He's passed away recently. He was a great guy. But we were at odds for a long time, and then we started just spontaneously sharing leads. And when I couldn't do a job, I passed it to David, and similarly when David couldn't do a job, he passed it to me. And that's happening as well with some stunt coordinators that I know from down south as well. I'm getting calls when they're not able to do something, and this happened last week. I got a call from one of them to cover them on a recce. That didn't work out, but I got a call about something else which was not within my skill set. and I was able to pass a job back to them. So there's benefits from creating these relationships. But anyway, I was saying, as you develop your network, you can expect to receive referrals. That was the first one. Another thing is to forge connections with like-minded individuals for future collaborations, and these can come back into play even years later. You can also gain wisdom and guidance from seasoned professionals in the field that you're interested in, and you can seize opportunities as they arise. And you can, lastly, share your own knowledge and contribute to the growth of your network in that way, be valuable to other people. The quote, "Your network is your net worth" by Porter Gale, that you might have heard of, highlights the value of relationships in achieving personal and professional success. That quote suggests that the people you surround yourself with, your network, can be just as important, if not more so, than financial resources. A strong network offers opportunities for support, collaboration, learning, and growth, which can ultimately contribute to your success. Porter Gale popularized this ideal. That took me so many times to say that. Popularized this idea in her book, Your Network is Your Net Worth, Unlock the Hidden Power of Connections for Wealth, Success, and Happiness in the Digital Age. It is a productivity classic. And in the book, she explains how building authentic, mutually beneficial relationships can lead to greater happiness and success, both personally and professionally. And it's about focusing on quality connections rather than quantity, and fostering these genuine relationships that align with your own values and goals. I cannot overstate the value of knowing your own values. Take time. I went through it in one of the New Year specials, but take time. Take 5 minutes after you've listened to this show to write down what your values are. Because if you're going to collaborate with someone, you better make damn sure they've got values that will integrate well with your own. But anyway, I'm going to end here by hammering home 3 key takeaways from Porter Gale's book, Your Network is Your Net Worth. And here they are. Number 1, focus on authentic connections. Because building genuine, meaningful relationships based on trust and mutual value is far more impactful than simply collecting contacts. Number 2, quality over quantity. A smaller network of strong, authentic connections can open more doors and provide more support than a large network of superficial ones. And 3, give before you receive. Generosity and helping others without expecting immediate returns strengthens your relationships and often will lead to unexpected opportunities. Those 3 takeaways again: focus on authentic connections, quality over quantity, and give before you receive. So, let me wrap up here and give you a wee call to action. Who can you reach out to this week? Is there a mentor that you've lost touch with? A colleague you admire, or someone new whose work inspires you? Start small, but start right now. Start today. And I must add too that in today's world, everyone, I've got to say this, everyone, including the people that you want to connect with, is overwhelmed by information. They've got social media feeds, emails, and messages piling up, making it harder than ever for you to stand out. That's why networking needs to be intentional. It's not about bombarding people with endless updates or self-promotion. It's about building genuine, meaningful relationships. I try to remind myself of that because I am overwhelmed by people communicating with me. So who knows what it's like when you're putting a production together, for example, and the word's got out that you're the person to send a CV to. It's got to be tough. So stay visible. Focus on consistency and authenticity, and check in periodically. Share something valuable with these people, or simply just remind them that you're around. It's not about being pushy. It's about being present. And as I'm recording this, I'm just remembering that someone wrote to me during the week and I haven't responded to them yet. And it's exactly for that reason. I am overwhelmed at the moment. I am right on the edge of burnout. I've had to, as I mentioned earlier, kind of start dodging work, dodging new projects, and in the sense of that I'm not seeking new work. If it comes to me, I will do it. So I am available for work if someone's offering. But I'm trying to make a little bit of room for myself to get on top of this podcast, to get on top of my health and fitness and a couple of other business-related things. And I can't handle absolutely everything that comes in. I tend to compartmentalize. Even this season of the podcast is not getting my full attention right now. I'm recording this one episode, and then next week I'm going to record another episode. Normally, I batch produce the whole season. I can't do it at the moment. I don't have the time. But it was so important for me to get this episode out, one episode, get the ball moving on things, that I have made time for it. Anyway, I'm getting distracted there. Over the next 12 weeks, I'm going to be presenting new shows on taking action, on reasons why creatives fail, on self-sabotage, on productivity lies. I'm going to look at Chinese battle strategies that are relevant to the productivity of today's world. I'm going to look at firing bad clients as well, and the art of letting go, the bad apple effect, and jealousy and grace. But next week, I think it is, I could be wrong about this, I think I'm going to be doing an episode called You Reap What You Sow, Hard Truths About Success. So stay tuned for that one. In fact, while I'm here, I'm just going to double check by looking it up in my folder. I've got so many things to do. Season 14, yes, You Reap What You Sow, Hard Truths About Success. That is the one for next week. Tune in for that. If you are enjoying the show and you have been listening, even though it's not been on for a few months, there's plenty of extra episodes out there. There's still 165 before this one that you can check out. I do urge you to subscribe to the show so you don't miss new ones as they come out. Please leave a review on whatever podcast app that you listen on. And I also do urge you to share this episode with a friend or a colleague who might benefit from better networking habits. And just remember, folks, that networking isn't about selling yourself. It's about showing up, giving value, and letting relationships grow naturally. Let me end today with some anonymous but well-kent words from the universe that you are sure to recognize. It's not what you know, but who you know that makes the difference. Now take control of your own destiny, keep on shooting, and join me next time on Film Pro Productivity and Success. The music that you can hear right now is Adventures by Ehimitsu. You can view the show notes for this episode on the official website, only on the official website, filmproproductivity.com. And you can follow my personal account on Twitter and Instagram at @fight_director, or follow the show on Twitter at FilmProProdPod, or on Facebook at Film Pro Productivity. Please continue to support the show by subscribing, spreading the word, and leaving an awesome review.